Thanks, Phil. Our speaker today is Rev Barb Ryan, coming to us from her home in Eugene. Barb is known as the goddess of happiness, and she says, to quote, "As for me, I choose divine." Let's learn more about how we can choose divine love too. Please welcome Reverend Barb Ryan.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I first want to say hello to Ocean Unity community. I'm glad to be back, and I look forward to being back in the actual room with you. And I welcome all the people on Zoom that a lot of people showed up that I had sent invitations to. So welcome and get a sense of what Ocean Unity is like and how wonderful this community is. And the theme that I'm talking about today is about embodying love every day, that we are love. And I love the readings today because they all said this. They all said that we are part of love. I want to check in for a moment about the volume. I have a microphone with me now. I'm hearing an echo. Can I get feedback from somebody in the room? Okay. So,
You have a big echo on Zoom.
But we can hear you fine.
okay. I'm gonna go back. Okay, now I'm back on the microphone and it echoes everything I say. Hmm. Okay. Just one moment. Okay, I turned my speaker off. Can you still hear me with no echo now? All right. And can the room hear me too? I'm assuming so. As long as Zoom can hear me, it'll be recorded and people will be able to hear it. Thank you for the sound check. Um,
You
it's
just
not
went out
often.
again.
Oh, I went, hmm. Okay. Hear me. Okay. All right. So I have my external mic on. I have my speaker off. People on Zoom, yes or no? Yes? Okay. People in the room? I don't know. Okay. Um, all right. From Ocean Unity. Okay, you do hear me. All right. I apologize for the humanness in the technology of what we are doing. And as I said, I wanted to welcome everybody. The next thing I always do is notice the land that we are on. And in Eugene, I'm on the unceded land of the Kalapuya people. And at Ocean Unity, you're on the unceded land of all of the tribes that are had been marched to the Siletz Reservation, and there's quite a few of them there. So I will just recognize the ones that are on the Siletz Reservation. And the next thing that I want to acknowledge is that earlier on, Lucy had asked me to do a prayer about the joys and concerns. And I will include that in what I'm talking about today, that everybody who spoke a joy, everybody who spoke a concern, everybody who felt a joy and didn't speak it, everybody who felt a concern yet didn't speak it, to know that every one of those is surrounded by love, is surrounded by the love of this community, and is one of the many droplets of love that we all are. So, in knowing that, you'll see how it all fits in here. So, Rumi has a quote. I often like to start with a Rumi quote. And he says, we're not a drop in the ocean of love, but he says, we're not a drop in the ocean. I added of love. And then he says, we're the entire ocean in a drop. So I think of us each as droplets of love. And in that droplet, the entire ocean of love is reflected. So every one of us already is the entire ocean of love in the droplet that we represent. Therefore, I don't think it's that we need to embody that love. It's already within us, that we need to acknowledge that greater love that some call spirit or God or by many names or by no name is already within us, within every one of us, if we recognize it or not. Love, the greater love, knows that it's a part of us. It knows that it's a part of all the love that's there. It's we in our humanness who forget that we are part, that we are a droplet in the ocean of love, that we forget, we cut ourselves off. And so this is more about how to remember, how to bring all those parts together and to know that we are a droplet of love, that within us, the whole universe, every bit of it, is all love. And it's all contained and reflected within us and through us and around us. So I could end the talk there, but I think that I'll give you some ideas about how to do that and how I do that. So that's why it's called embodying love every day in every way. So the assumption is made that love is already embodying us. How do we recognize that? Well, what I know to be true is that what I focus on expands. So when I'm focused on that I'm a droplet of love, reflecting back to everyone else all that love, that expands. But what's also true is that when I am scared, that expands, and I begin to feel distant from myself, from the greater love, from most of the other humans. And when I feel, whether it's fear or sad or grief, if I surround that feeling by love and remember that it's also an expression of love, then we're on our way to living out our experience as a droplet of love. So we acknowledge any of those feelings that seem to separate us from all that is. And I say seems because we're always part of all that is. We have no choice about that. What we have choice about is recognizing it, noticing it, acknowledging it. And both Lucy and Marion and Linda all reminded me to mention my book, and it just came to mind. I wrote a book called Love Loves Fear, and it's based on this concept that love loves everything, especially fear. And when you buy the book, when you read the book, you will see that it's about every part being surrounded by love and surrendering to love. The other aspect of the book is that fear fears everything, especially love. So when we can give loving attention to the part of us that is afraid, instead of giving fearful attention to the part of us that is love, that's what doesn't throw off the balance. It brings us back into balance, into knowing, into the knowledge that myself and each of you and everyone in the world, every sentient being, are all expressions of love. Some of them have forgotten that, or they don't know that, or they never knew that. And it's not up to me or to you or for us to tell people that they have to be their expressions of love, because that's not a very loving thing to do. What I do is invite people into the experience of feeling and knowing and simply being that love. So, for instance, when I am sad or grieving, irritated or angry, when I'm frustrated and feeling hopeless, and honestly, there's been lots of that now with everything happening in the world, especially with war going on, that reflects all of those feelings that are about divisiveness and about how different we are. And it kind of just makes up all this stuff to reflect our difference and to pit us against each other. And as each of us remembers that our truth is that we are a droplet of that greater divine love, reflecting that back to everyone else. So when we look with kind sight, not just hindsight, but we look with kind sight at ourselves, at our feelings, at our actions, at our past, at our hopes for the future, when we are looking with kind sight, we flavor it, we discern it through a loving gaze, and everything looks different. And think about that just for a moment. Try that on if you want. Close your eyes for a moment and think of something that is a disturbance within you right now or within the world right now that you just feel overwhelmed by and don't know what to do with. So imagine that inside of you, and imagine simply that you're imagining it surrounded by the love, surrounded by the love that you are, that we all are, that everybody in the room is, that everybody in the Zoom is, that we're all here. We gather to be in that loving space, to experience that love, to reflect that love. So, whatever situation you're thinking about that brings anger, that brings irritation, that brings fear, that brings those feelings aren't bad. They all serve a purpose. It's when we get stuck in them that we feel separate from all that is. So what I'm asking you to do is imagine that place where you feel separate and just surround it with love. Surround it visually, surrounded by hugging yourself, surrounded by shifting your thinking, creative visualization, looking around your space for something that's absolutely beautiful that is there so that when you look at it, you remember the beauty and the love. They're all over the room at Ocean Unity. They're all over the spaces that we're in right now. So imagine that love. So when I look with kind sight through a loving lens at the ways that I contribute to the hate and the fear and the anger, that's where I see my disconnect. So even though I have those feelings within me, I believe they show up so we can learn how to transform them to love. Not because one is right and one is wrong, but because one is aligned. When we are aligned with love, we feel hopeful. When we are aligned with fear and anger, we feel those things even bigger. And so I find an openness within me that I can feel those feelings and transform them with love. So I sit with the feeling, I surround myself with love, and then more love, and more love, and more love, and do it for as long as I choose to. It's the only thing that's bringing relief and ease to my brokenheartedness. And then each morning, I start my day asking, what would LOVE do? What would the greater love do? And I don't always have an idea, but I always have an ask, whatever the situation is. And I know that love would have gratitude. So I start there. And in the last few days, with all that's been going on in the world and with whatever's going on in our home, whatever's going on in our community that creates disturbance, sometimes I'm asking that question all day, every day. What would love do? What's mine to do? And some days it looks like I ask that in silent prayer. Sometimes I am crying and screaming and heartbroken and asking, what is mine to do? Asking for guidance. That's when I realize that mine is simply to look for the love, to look for the hope, to look for the goodness, to look for the connections to the helpers in a spiritual plane, in a physical plane, to look for the helpers. I believe this quote is that Mr. Rogers said his mom told him, look for the helpers, because that helper will help you to find, experience, and to know that deeper love within you. So I keep asking my spiritual guidance all day, every day, to direct me to the most loving response from deep within me in that moment. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be perfectly me seeking an expression of love and how I can align with that. Because you know what? I simply can't meet hate with hate. I've seen what that does. And I can't meet fear with fear. I've seen what that does. I can only respond from love. But that is my deepest desire, to only respond in love. That is my lesson. That is my challenge. That is my purpose, to look for the love and to welcome it and to know that it's right inside of me, because I am one of those many droplets of love, reflecting it back to me and to everyone else. And whenever I feel confused about that, or separate from myself, or separate from all that is, or separate from other people, or I begin to get caught up in that there's enemies and there's good people and bad people, whenever I find myself there, I pause and I ask, how can I be an expression of divine love at this time? And as I said, sometimes it's very silent. Sometimes it's being part of the resistance. There's many, many ways. And the idea is to take it one step at a time and lead with love. And as we lead with love, it brings us to the expression of love. But ours is not to seek for love, Rumi also said, but to seek for the barriers that are in our way of this divine love. So I'm not everywhere looking for love. It's all around me. I'm looking for what within me, or what within my mind, or what within the news today is trying to pull my attention away from love. And as soon as I notice that, then I notice the love, and it's all there, and it's all good, and it's all loving, and it's eternal. But in me, it might only last a moment, or it could last a lifetime. But I'm just looking at each moment and saying, not where is the love, but how do I remove the barriers from within me so that I can be and experience that love all day, every day. And there are so many opportunities to feel the separation, which brings back my desire to be part of the love. And that's how it goes on and on. And some mornings when I wake up, I am just in complete and full knowing that love is all there is. And when I start my day that way, chances are I'll be remembering that as in being a part of that expression all day. But then I could have a memory, be re traumatized from something, stub my toe, not feel well, have somebody, and people in my life really don't do this, but have somebody somewhere say something negative to me or about love or whatever it might be. But it creates a disturbance within me. And I feel like I want to defend my position. And I feel like I want to defend love. That greater love does not need explanation, it does not need defending. That's a call within us that which separates us from that divine love, that we, each of us, looks at that and welcomes in the love. And it's not about defending or protecting, it's about feeling protected. When I know that I am a bubble of love, how does it get any better than that? I feel loved, I feel protected no matter what is going on in my life or the world. And I might not always understand it. That might be the definition of faith, that I step into it knowing it deeply, even as I question it. So as I start any moment where I feel separation, separation from any of you, separation from people I don't know, separation from some of the leaders that I deem or I judge as bad. And then I need to look at, if I'm believing that it's all love, then for me, I need to step into, how can I be part of the loving response? How can I represent peace? How can I be part of the resistance that is loving, that is peaceful, that is non-violent, that is a force to be reckoned with in a loving way? How can I notice all around me others who inspire me, whether they lived long ago, whether it's just an idea and not even born yet, or whether it's an example of something I've always felt drawn to, that I've always felt aligned with, that I'm recalling now. My favorite tree when I was a kid. My favorite tree was a willow tree. It was one of my best friends. I didn't always know that it was any different than my dog, my cat, a pile of ants that I thought were my friends, and the neighborhood kids, my family. When I climbed up that willow tree, I knew that I was one with that tree. And I tested it. I would go to the thinnest branches. I'm sure you're all familiar with willows. They might come with a big trunk, but they get willowy pretty quickly, and they are not made to hold bodies up on the thinnest branches. So I'd always make sure that I was grounded into the trunk of the tree. But then I would reach as high as I could. I would stretch as much as I could. I noticed my own growth by how much I could reach toward another branch and how much the one I was on bent as that happened. But I never questioned that the tree and I were one. I didn't learn through my own experiences much later that it was all love, that it was all an expression of spirit divine. In fact, my religious education would tell me that the trees and the animals were of some sort of lower level of being. And yet I always remembered my best friend, one of my best friends, was that tree. That tree was cut down long ago, but I always have access to it. It was 3,000 miles away from where I am now, but I always have access to it within me, within my memory, within my body memories. And that's another way that we can embody this sense of love, that we remember and feel it in our bodies. I can feel the bark. I can feel the climbing up the tree. I even made a pulley system to bring up my books and to bring up my snacks. And I tried to bring up my dog, but wasn't going for that. And the cat would just come up on their own. And friends that I invited would come up on their own. But I have literal body memories of scraped knees, of what it felt to hold the tree. And I also have memories of what I thought was my imagination, of the tree hugging me back, of the tree protecting me. Because I was raised in an era where they thought that one of the ways to discipline children was to spank them with all kinds of things. And it was totally okay. And everybody approved except for all the kids I knew. And so I ran pretty fast, and that's what protected me. But then I ran up my tree, and I was able to stay up in the tree longer than the person who had wanted to spank me could remember why they wanted to spank me. And so I avoided a lot of violence or punishment or disagreements by running up my tree, by hanging out with my tree. So the secret that I'm telling you about me is that when I'm looking for the love, when I can't quite find it, I remember my tree and all that I learned every time I was in the tree and feeling protected and loved. And as long as I brought that message back with me, that we were one, that the tree essence would always protect me. And since then, everywhere I've gone, I've noticed a tree in my yard, in my neighborhood, on a walk, in a friend's yard. Sometimes I've asked permission to climb. Mostly, I've leaned against it, hugged with it, meditated with it. Each of you has your own symbology of the tree from my childhood. And that will come to you. It probably is already coming to you. You'll know. It might have been a rock, it might have been a boulder, it might have been the ocean. I mean, on and on and on. I found many, many more expressions of divine love as I grew and looked around the world some more for protection and for love. And that's what I was seeking. Not how to defend against that which I see as separate from me, but how to love and be at one with that which is another droplet of love. So when I say we're all a droplet of love reflecting back the love, I include all of nature. I include all the humans, all the sentient beings. I include all the crystals, everything hidden within the earth, everything hidden within me. So it's up to each of you to look at how you can embody love. What are your barriers to love and how to release them? You don't have to break through them, you don't have to battle with them. What would it be like to release them? Some of us find out about this and we just tell everybody. And those who have ears to hear listen and they tell us theirs. And we share the roads, the pathways to that love. So I would like to end this part of my talk, end my talk, um, with a chant. Sometimes it's a song that came through me a few years ago after a friend of mine named Jada had died, had passed. A few women had a circle, and we were checking in with her in any way that we knew. And some of us were gifted with song or dance or memories or whatever we were. I was gifted with a song, and I thought it was kind of a cosmic joke because I don't recognize my voice. I don't recognize myself as someone who would be asked to sing. So I'm going to teach you this. And I want everybody in the Zoom, because you're muted, to go ahead and sing it too. And everybody in the room. And it's just repeating after me. I'm going to say one line, you're going to repeat it. I'll say the next line, you'll repeat it, and we'll be done with it. But you will have this forever after. Okay, now you can hear, but I'm echoing. Oh, maybe because I said repeat after me. Um, let me see what I can do here. Okay, is that better? All right, I simply turned down the volume of me. I had gotten too full, and it was just coming out all over. And I assume the people at Ocean Unity can hear me too. Okay. So repeat after me. And the people at Ocean Unity, I think I'm going to be able to hear. Yes, it says you can all hear me. So first you say, I am one with everything. I am love. Oops, you can't hear me.
We hear you. Don't lean
Oh,
back.
okay, you can hear me.
Yes.
All right, I'll make it quieter. I still have an echo. It's just funny to me that it came in at the time I said to me. That's so manifesting at its best. I am one with everything. I am love. You are one with everything. You are love. We are one with everything. We are love. Love is one with everything. All is love. So there you go. Thank you so much for being part of my expression of love today and helping me to remember that we are each a droplet of love. And if you, as you stick around for the closing of the service, afterwards there'll be a question and answer period that I and all the Zoomers can be part of the room and part of the discussion. Okay.